Welcome to Paramus, New Jersey. You are watching NJ.ORG Varsity's coverage of New Jersey high school softball.
And what a lovely day for a softball game it is, Mark.
Absolutely. Along with Joe Vasile, I am Mark Inserra, and we are underway. Strike one to IHA's leadoff hitter Julia Schalk, the Paramus Catholic Paladins, taking on the Fontbonne Hall Academy Bonnies. This afternoon, Victoria Soho's pitch is fouled right by us, Joe, right over our heads.
Nearly had one. Nearly had one. Never had a foul ball in my broadcasting career.
You should have laid out for one, Joe. Should have laid out.
You know what? Yeah, Dive had it, I think.
Absolutely. It was just over the reach of your outstretched arm. Victoria Soho on the mound for the Paramus Catholic Paladins, facing, as I mentioned, the leadoff hitter for Fontbonne Hall, Julia Schalk. Ball popped up on the infield. Soho comes in, makes the catch, and there is one away.
Well, out number one. That is the one that you want to get, just exactly the way that Vuhu wanted to get this one started.
Absolutely, Joe. Yeah. And the leadoff hitter just makes every pitcher's life a little bit easier. Just one out here in the top of the first inning. And the next challenge for Victoria Soho is number 44, Natalie LaCognata, who grounds one to second base. Throw on to first is in time for out number two. And there are two away. That was Olivia D'Amato, the second baseman for the Paladins, who fielded that one, throws on to first for the out. Now the number 3 hitter stepping up to the plate for Fontbonne Hall. First pitch is low for a ball. Number 18, Erica Cristiano, a junior, occupying the third position in Fontbonne Hall's lineup this afternoon. Soho deals one just on the outside corner for strike one. The count is even at 1-1. Once again, you are watching NJ.ORG Varsity, Paramus Catholic against Fontbonne Hall, alongside Joe Vasile. I am Mark Inserra. We'll be here with you all day covering this softball game between two of the top schools in the tri-state area. Fontbonne Hall, Joe, comes into this game ranked number 1 in New York City, the best softball team in New York City according to MSG Varsity. Yeah,
they certainly are. They're a tough team this season, but also next year they're looking pretty good too. They're starting mostly a swing and a miss, strike 3. That will end the inning as down goes Cristiano. But they're starting mostly a lineup of juniors and sophomores here today. We were talking with the coach. He said this is going to be their everyday team next year and that they're looking good. And so this should be an interesting test to see how good they're going to be, not only this year, but also going forward.
Absolutely, Joe. So end of half an inning here at Paramus Catholic. The score, Fontbonne Hall nothing and Paramus Catholic nothing. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Paramus Catholic High School here in Paramus, New Jersey, as the Paramus Catholic Paladins step up to the plate for their first at-bat this afternoon. They have managed to hold Fontbonne Hall Academy scoreless in the top of the first inning. And now the Paladins will look to get on the board in this one. And the pitcher that they will be facing for the Fontbonne Hall Academy Bonnies, excuse me, sorry, just trying to deal with the wind here, is Bianca Marletta. Marletta comes into this game 2-0. Normally Nicole Trapani is the top pitcher, and the ground ball to shortstop, throw across the diamond is in time as Olivia D'Amato is retired on one pitch. And Joe, you mentioned how important getting the leadoff batter is for any pitcher in anything, but getting it on one pitch just makes your life all that much more easier, less energy expended, just allows you to be a more effective pitcher as the game rolls on. Now the number 2 hitter stepping up to the plate, Heather Ronchi, the center fielder for Paramus Catholic, takes the first pitch for a ball. And that evens the count at 1-1.
It was a very emphatic strike call that time.
Even it being as far away as we are, we could hear that umpire's strike call loud and clear, Joe.
Certainly.
That one's hit well in the right center field. Center fielder backing up. That looks like it's going to be overhead, and it is. Heading to second and stopping right there is Ranchi. And that's the first hit of the ball game. It goes for a double for Paramus Catholic.
Yeah, that was pretty well struck that time by Ranchi. She hit it right to the deepest part of the ballpark. Probably not really able to see this from the angle that we're shooting, but there's a 234 sign right on the outfield wall, right where that ball was going. That ball was absolutely smoked that time.
Absolutely, and the center fielder, Gerber, just had no chance at that one. It was hit too well. From the moment that ball came off the bat, that was going to be extra bases. And it's a team that's as good as Fontbonne Hall. As you mentioned, the #1 softball team in New York City. Ground ball towards the middle. Nice field by the second baseman, and throws in time to get Ellison Neal. The shortstop grounds out to the second baseman. 2 away. It would be such a boon for Paramus Catholic to get on the board first here, Joe.
Certainly is against a good team. It's always nice to score first, especially at home, but especially against a team that's as good as Fontbonne.
Stephanie Triola takes a ball high. Number 26, the first baseman for Paramus Catholic, with 2 outs and a big runner on third base. Marletta deals, and it's popped into center field. Center fielder backing up. Gerber, it's off her glove. That will be 2 bases and a run for Paramus Catholic.
Boy, and that's an unfortunate error that time for Ciccarelli Gerber. She was backing up on it, thought she had it lined up, but as you can see, the wind is pretty bad. That was we've been noticing, and if you look at the American flag out in center field, it certainly looks like that played a factor in the misplay that time.
Oh, the wind is going to make it difficult on all the fielders, on every fly ball, every pop-up, every ball that goes in the air. Ground ball to shortstop by Samantha Held. Throw across is in time, and that ends the inning. But for Paramus Catholic, 1 run on 1 hit, 1 error. They leave 1. We're through 1, Joe. It's 1-0. We'll be right back here on NJ.ORG Varsity. Welcome back to NJ.ORG Varsity. Welcome back to Paramus Catholic High School, as the Paramus Catholic Paladins take on the Fontbonne Hall Bonnies. And leading off for the Bonnies here in the second inning, and taking a first pitch strike, is Ariana Dillon. Dillon, the cleanup batter for the Bonnies. Victoria Suhu back on the mound.
We'll see how she responds after the 1-2-3
ball
first
over
inning.
our heads. That ball was very well struck, Joe. Just a little bit foul.
Yeah, that was another one that if I was maybe a couple feet taller, I might have been able to.
That one, I think that one you get more of a pass on.
I get more. You know what? I was always better on drifting back on balls though, so I'm not going to give myself a break on that one. I should have had it.
I was always better coming in on balls, so I'll take the ones that go over our head. You take the ones that go. I'll take the ones that land in front of us.
Well, that's why you're in front, not in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure my mom would probably beg to differ with my evaluation of my defense.
And how to play. I almost took out some of the Fontbonne Hall bench there. But just like us, Joe, they're paying attention. They can get out of the way.
Yeah.
So 2 strikes on Dillon with nobody out in the second inning. 1-0 Paramus Catholic on an error in the bottom of the first by the center fielder, Rafaela Ciccarelli Gerber. 0-2 pitch is high.
Took a little something off that one. Unable to keep it in the strike zone, though.
1-2. Suhu trying to get the leadoff batter here as Dillon stands in again. Righty against righty, swing foul tip.
Yeah, it was a good job that time by Dillon to get a piece of that one. Samantha Held, though, the catcher for Paramus Catholic, just unable to get her glove on the tip.
Suhu trying to start the beginning of a scoreless frame here. Line drive in the left. And that falls in for a hit as Torres fires it in. And there's a runner on base for Fontbonne Hall. That's their first hit of the ball game.
Yeah, that was another pretty well-struck ball that time by Dillon, but a good job in defensive positioning by Paramus Catholic. They had their outfielders playing well back against Dillon, and so they were able to keep it in front of him and hold her to a single.
Bianca Marletta now up, faking a bunt, takes the pitch, the ball gets by the catcher, and moving up to second on that one is Ariana Dillon. Wait a second.
Yeah, that time, maybe a little bit of a blessing in disguise that time for the Bonnies. Trying to bunt, didn't get the bunt, but the ball got away, and so you get the runner down to second without having to sacrifice an out.
Absolutely right. Another ball that gets away. And just like that, in the space of 3 pitches, Dylan goes from at the plate behind in the count to on third base with nobody out.
I'm sure she'll take it.
Absolutely. And now just a deep fly ball could score her. And in that at bat by Dylan, that's 2 pitches that she turned around from Suhu. First a foul ball over our heads, and then the base hit. 2-0 pitches fouled at the plate by Marletta. Marletta also the pitcher today for the Bonnies.
Looking to help out her own cause here, bringing that run from third.
And every single little bit helps. Suhu strikes her out. Swing and a miss. Nice pitch by Victoria Suhu, and a big out there, Joe.
And we've seen Suhu so far. She's got that nice strikeout pitch. She'll take a little something off of it. It's not quite a changeup, but she'll take a little bit something off of the fastball. And so far she's had some good success doing that. 2 strikeouts already so far in the day, and she's gotten a bunch of swing and misses as well.
Still a runner on third now. 1 out for Maria Gentile.
Oh, wait, hold on.
And now the catcher's
that
going
was only
out.
strike. Did they send her back out?
What? No, I don't think so.
Because I'm looking right now.
Oh, wait, you know what?
Gentile is on the on-deck circle. And,
Oh,
and Marletta's
You're
back
right,
in the
Marletta
box.
is still on the
She
plate.
acted as if she had just struck out. We acted as if she had just struck
Well,
out.
she sold it beautifully, because you're exactly right. We all bought it. We all thought she had struck out. And then, and you're right, as soon as you said, wait, maybe she did strike out, I thought to myself, yeah, you're right, it was 2-1.
Yeah, so the
then-
count is 2-2.
Yes. And pitch outside.
You know, usually it's the other way around, where it's a batter will start walking down to first base on ball 3.
4.
Usually you don't
3.
see a batter trying to strike themselves out.
Ball 4 high. So Marletta thought she had a strikeout. She ends up with a walk.
Yeah.
And now Maria Gentile will step in. So an interesting and, dare I say, confusing course of events there. But it all ends up with a walk.
Here comes the courtesy runner for the Bonnies. Looks like it's going to be Christina Calacioni.
That's correct. It is Calacioni.
And I'm 100% sure that that is an Italian last name.
You would be 100% right on that one, Joe.
I don't know, though. I'm speculating. Maybe I'll talk to her after the game. We'll see. Double check on that one.
It would be hard pressed to imagine a name that sounds as Italian as that isn't Italian. But who knows these days?
Yeah.
So Maria Gentile stepping in.
You never know.
Righty against righty. Showing a bunt and then takes a strike. Here is the defense. Let's line the defense for you. For Paramus Catholic, Samantha Held is behind the plate now in the outfield. For Paramus Catholic, in left field is Sabrina Torres. Center field, Heather Ranchi. And in right field is Alessandra Mania. Pitch outside. On the infield for the Paladins, at third base is Julia DeCandia. Shortstop, Alyssa Neal. Olivia D'Amato plays second base. At first base, Stephanie Triola, excuse me. And on the mound, Victoria Suhu. Pitch grounded foul by Gentile. And the count is 1-2. 1-0 Paramus Catholic off of an error that allowed Heather Ranchi to score a run in the first inning. But Fontbonne Hall trying to answer back here with the runners on first and third and nobody out in the top of the second inning. Gentile takes one outside and the count is 2-2. And as easy as the first inning was for Suhu, Joe, that's how much trouble she's having here early in the second inning.
Yeah, she seems to be missing a lot, at least to these right-handed hitters. Well, that's the only kind of hitter that's come to the plate. High and away, she seems to be unable to really locate that outside corner.
And that was a strikeout, Joe. I think we got that one correct.
Yeah, I don't see anybody yelling at Gentile to get back in the box after that one.
So with one out, here is Jillian Nixon. First and third, as we mentioned, one out. Ariella Dillon on third. Swing and a miss. Runner going for second. She's in it, and a run comes home on that one as the Bonnies steal home. A double steal as Dillon comes home as as Christina Calacioni steals second. And now some time as Calacioni Looks like she might be a little bit shaken up.
Yeah, that's that classic softball play, and you'll see a lot of teams have a play when there's runners on first and third. A lot of times you'll see that runner on first try and steal second. A lot of teams will have a play where they'll have the catcher get up and fire it to the shortstop who cuts in front, of the second baseman cutting in front, to make sure that runner from third doesn't break on the throw. Or they'll get up and they'll fire it right back to the pitcher as if they're going to throw through and try and catch him. But that time it threw all the way through, and a run ends up coming in to score.
Swing and a miss on that pitch. You see the outfielders coming in, the left fielder and the center fielder coming in case there's a stealer or a throw to second to try and pick off the runner to make sure that they back up. Pitches outside.
I missed high and away that time also, because if you notice also down the third base line, Julia DeCandia is playing very aggressively in front of the third base bag. So if Marletta decides to try and steal third, you've got Alyssa Neal cutting across to take the throw at third base. Whereas she would normally just be the backup. You have to have the left fielder come up.
Game tied at 1 now, in the top of the second. Pitch outside to Nixon. And that's such a big run for Fontbonne Hall to get after Paramus Catholic put up a run in the first inning that ended up being unearned for the Bonnies to get it right back.
Yep.
Immediately cancels out the run that they gave up in the first inning. That pitch is fouled way back.
I think that one might have just hit my car.
Well, I don't hear a car alarm going off, so that has to be a good sign.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm also not parked over in that particular area, but
you didn't
just
park
close
by
to it.
You didn't park by Atlantic Mechanical?
No, I didn't park by the shed. There it is.
Strike 3 called. So the backwards K sets down Nixon. 2 away and staying at second is Calacione.
Already the third strikeout of the game so far for Suhu. And
she's getting a lot of swings and misses this afternoon, Joe.
Now I've got a question for you, Mark.
Yes.
The run, is it earned or unearned? Because the 2 wild pitches, and then obviously the stolen base. But if the 2 wild pitches, would that make it an earned run or an unearned run?
That makes it earned. If they were 2 passed balls, or maybe even 1 passed ball, it would be unearned. But since they're both wild pitches, and then the stolen base, it's an earned run.
Of course, asking for the folks at home who might not...
For the ones who might be scoring at home, you want to make sure that they have it, right?
In case you're scoring this at home, yeah.
Pitch popped up on the infield. Sue can't get there. It bounces off, held. And now the runner thought about coming to the plate, but because no one was covering. But the Paladins did a good job there of getting on, covering the plate. Because for a second there was nobody covering the plate, and it looked like Calacione was going to have an open road to a second run for the Bonnies. But Julia DeCandia and then Samantha Held both got there and made sure that Calacione wouldn't have that plate just sitting there for her to step on for a second run.
I'm going to second guess Held a little bit on that time. I think if she lets that one go, perhaps it might bounce out of bounds. And out of bounds, I mean a foul ball, because that's how you talk about things in softball and baseball. I think it would have bounced foul, just judging by the spin that it looked like the ball had on it. I don't know why she came up and touched the ball.
Delana Allegretti, the hitter for Fontbonne Hall here, and she takes strike 1. The count is 1-1. Allegretti, a junior for the Bonnies, and you see the infield is way in for the Paladins, as if they're expecting a bunt or some sort of a squeeze play. There are 2 outs here, and that's strike 2. So if she bunted and they threw her out, the run, whatever run came across the plate wouldn't count, obviously. Game tied at 1 here at the top of the second. The Paramus Catholic Paladins hosting the Fontbonne Hall Academy Bonnies. Suhu deals one way high. Great job by Held to prevent that from getting away and letting a second run score. And the objective for Suhu here is just to minimize the damage. 2-2 is low. It's a full count. Suhu's 1 ball away from loading the bases. This is Raffaella Ciccarelli-Gerber, excuse me. This is not Delana Allegretti. Lefty against righty here. Lined right to the shortstop. Neal puts it away to end the inning, but they get a run, do the Bonnies. And we are through an inning and a half here at Paramus Catholic. And the score is tied 1-1.
Allegretti was the one who popped. I don't mess around.
We are back here at NJ.ORG Varsity as the bottom of the second inning starts here at Paramus Catholic, and the first pitch is fouled away out of play by Julia DeCandia.
Right up on a Gandolfini Ave. I don't know if you saw that road sign.
I did see that. It's very, obviously something that is something very tragic what happened to James Gandolfini, and a nice token of appreciation by the people here at Paramus Catholic as a base hit to center field for Julia DeCandia starts the second inning.
Now, did you ever watch The Sopranos, Mark?
I've actually just started watching The Sopranos, and it's actually, and I think it's a very good show, very well done. Obviously, people don't need me to tell them that. It's won not Academy Awards, but Emmys and multiple awards. As Juliana Longo fouls that one off. Longo, the designated player here for Paramus Catholic, which means she will hit, and Alexandra Mania, the left fielder, is not hitting for the Paladins. Do I have that right, Joe?
You do, except Mania is in right field.
Mania's in right field, my mistake.
No, that's fine. We all make them.
That's correct, yeah. I have her down at right field in my scorecard, but for some reason I changed her position in my head. As the pitcher's outside, it's 2-1.
That's all right. I still confuse my lefts and rights from time to time as well.
I think everyone does. At least I hope everyone does. It makes me feel better about myself.
It's only natural that it should happen every once in a while as that pitch missed. Count now 3 balls and 1 strike to Longo.
And a walk here, something Marletta almost can't afford. That ball is fouled off. Nice grab by a fan behind the bleachers. A great over-the-shoulder grab.
It was. You know, I was mostly worried that ball was going to come up and hit the
grill.
Hit that great grill with the charcoal. It was really wafting over here with all this wind and making things smell great.
And that is ball 4 to Longo. So 2 on, nobody out for Paramus Catholic.
This is what Paramus Catholic needs to do. I mean, they're a good hitting team, and just get people on base, and especially if you can get some contributions here from Torres and Subu at the bottom of the lineup, flip the card back over, and then really perhaps set up for a big inning here. First and second, nobody out.
Torres, the batting shows bunt, gets down a great bunt. No play but at first base. They just get her as the runners move over. A fantastic bunt by Sabrina Torres there, moving both runners into scoring position. And now, 1 base hit could make this a 3-1 ball game. And Victoria Suhu, the pitcher, steps up to attempt to help her own cause here.
Yeah, I'm not always a big fan of the sacrifice bunt, but in that situation right there, you get 2 into scoring position, and it was really beautifully executed as well.
Well, you're exactly right. I am more of a fan of sacrifice bunt. Certain situations, I think it's a great play. Certain situations, not so much. So
I believe that was one of those
outside 2-0. I think we can both agree that was one of the situations where it was very appropriate and very well executed, as we mentioned. Marletta deals, grounded to third. Allegretti holds the runner until she tried to tag her out. Did she get her?
They did.
They did get her. A fantastic play there. Excuse me. By the third baseman, Ariana Dillon, who faked a throw to first and then got the runner off third and promptly tagged her out. So a little bit overzealous there was Julia DeCandia. She gets tagged out now instead of second and third, 1 out. It's first and second, 1 out.
2 outs.
2 outs. They got the runner at first on that? No, they didn't. Oh, there are 2 outs. Excuse me. I'm sorry. A sacrifice bunt, of course.
Yeah. At least you get the top of the lineup now back up. Olivia D'Amato, remember she grounded out to short last time, but she made pretty solid contact with the ball, and so we'll see what she's able to do this time, second time around through the lineup.
Marletta trying to perform what would be a fantastic escape here. And there is strike 1. We saw last inning Suhu was unable to get out of the jam that she worked into. But Marletta trying to do what Suhu, I guess you would say, couldn't do last inning, and that pitch is outside. The count is 1-1. 2 outs here. The Fontbonne Hall Academy Bonnies and the Paramus Catholic Paladins tied at 1 on a slightly overcast Sunday afternoon here. That pitch is up high, and the count is 2-1. Again, Joe, that was such a fantastic play by Ariana Dillon there that really changed the entire momentum of that inning. Swing and a miss. That's strike 2. 1 more strike from Bianca Marletta will bail her out of this jam. That pitch just missed, and I don't know if you could hear the reaction from the Fontbonne Academy crowd. They thought they had strike 3.
A pretty good contingent of fans made the trip from Brooklyn.
That pitch popped foul. That will go over the fence and into the Paramus Catholic dugout. The runners are going on that 3-2 pitch with 2 outs, which means a ball in the gap or down the line should score 2 runs.
Man.
Big at bat here early in the game. Just the second inning, but with 2 men on and 2 out. Big at bat. Pitch is low for ball 4, and they are loaded up, Joe.
That says, remember Ranchi coming up right now. Remember last time she hit one about 220 feet over the center fielder's head.
That's exactly right. As you mentioned, she hit one into the deepest part of this ballpark, and it was over the head of Sicarelli Gerber in center field. And that resulted in a double. She came around and scored the first run of the ball game. And now coming out to talk to her pitcher is the catcher, Jillian Nixon. And the whole infield converges, and all the runners and the hitter converge on Coach Frank Baldino of Paramus Catholic over down the third base line. Now everyone retreats back to their respective bases. The meeting's still occurring. 6 players gathered around the mound for Fontbonne Hall. Finally, the meeting adjourns. Nixon goes back behind the plate, and the infielders return to their positions. We are ready to go. Bases loaded, 2 out. Heather Ranchi, at the plate, righty against Bianca Marletta. Game tied at 1. First pitch, strike. The critical part of any at bat, getting that first pitch strike, Joe. That's a big step to getting this out.
Yeah, especially after you've just walked a batter. It's always nice to get right back in the strike zone with the first pitch.
Not only walked about her, but walked about her in a very tough way, where you had her down in the count and just missed with a couple of pitches that resulted in a walk. Pitch low, and the count is 1-1.
Perhaps overthrowing a little bit that time. That pitch down, kind of almost in the dirt.
You could
see that.
Sorry, Joe. I was going to say you could understand that in this situation. You know the adrenaline's pumping for both of these players. Ground ball, second base. And that will end the inning. It's a nice play by Erica Cristiano, fielding and firing to first for the final out of the second inning. So in that inning, Bianca Marletta working in and out of trouble, giving up no runs on 1 hit, no errors, leaving the bases loaded. We go to the third inning. Game tied at 1 here at NJ.ORG Varsity. Third inning, just about ready to get underway here at Paramus Catholic. Victoria Suhu back on the mound. She will face Julia Skalk, the leadoff hitter, leading off the third inning. Ground ball, nice play by Julia DeCandia, throws her out. Great stop on a hard hit ball. That looked like it was ticketed for the left field line and a couple of bases, Joe, but DeCandia stopped it and threw her out and made it look easy.
Dare I say, web gem worthy on that one, going down on her knees, almost like a catcher, just keeping it in front of her, knocking it down, then getting up and making the quick throw. Our
cameraman Daniel Graham will have to get that out to the proper people. There is strike 1 to Nicola Cognata, the second baseman.
What is it that they use on Twitter?
Hashtag the shortstop.
Hashtag SC Top 10?
So, yes, I believe that is the hashtag. I'm not a big tweeter myself, but I do watch enough SportsCenter. Ground ball too short. Nice play there by Alyssa Neal. 2 away.
I do have to admit, I have been known to do a lot of twittering. If you ever want my musings on the New York Mets, you can follow me on Twitter at Vasile PVP. You can also follow at NJ.ORG Varsity for all of our lovely updates that we do on all of our games.
Please do follow those Twitter handles. As Erica Cristiana steps up to the plate. Erica is 0 for 1. She struck out.
Kick save and a beauty.
My scorecard flying away for the umpteenth time today, and there is strike 2. The count is 0-2.
Saving Mark's scorecard,
which is as important a part of a game as for a broadcaster as anything else, in my opinion.
Yeah. I would say it's number 2 right behind the microphone.
Yes, I agree.
Although maybe
it's more like 1 and 1A.
Yeah, 1 and 1A. And I guess the pen/pencil is 1C, because what good is a scorecard without a writing utensil?
It's very true. That pitch misses, and the count is 2-2. So Suhu still 1 pitch away from getting out of this jam. But Cristiano working the count back. As I mentioned, she struck out earlier today, trying to make sure she doesn't make it 2 in a row. And that is a base hit.
Just hit that one
She
right
hit
back.
that one right on the screws, Joe. Right back through the box for a single.
Yeah, just hit that one right back where it came from. Nearly took off Suhu's head that time. It's a hot shot.
Denying Suhu what would have been her second 1-2-3 inning of this afternoon, but instead she has to face Ariana Dillon, who singled and came around to score earlier in the game. That's a foul ball. Almost got Frank Marinello, the Fontbonne Hall coach. I wonder if he was giving her the bunt sign, and Dillon said, "Forget that. Take this, old man." Counting his own one after the foul ball. As I mentioned, Dillon singled in her first at bat, moved to second and then to third on wild pitches, and stole home on a double steal with Christina Calcioni. 0-1 pitch is outside, and the count is 1-1. Christiana leading off first, game even at 1 here in the top of the third inning. 1-1 count with 2 outs.
As the Paramus Catholic JV team starts to warm up behind us, I think we've actually silenced them because they're afraid of getting picked up on the microphones.
Throw to second, not in time, as a stolen base for Christiana. And early in this game, Joe, it's pretty obvious that Fontbonne Hall is not going to be afraid to run on Samantha Held.
They seem very eager to run, and they've been doing a good job so far. Of course, here you have to wait to get off the base until the ball crosses home plate.
Yes.
And I mean, because the base paths are shorter, quite frankly. But even with that, they've been doing a very good job at not only swiping the bags, but convincingly doing so.
Yes. Without really even making it close on the throw that comes in on those still times. We had a slight stoppage there. The umpire looked like he went over to explain something to the Bonnies, but everything's like it's good now. Pitch lined right to DeCandia. And Julia DeCandia, I think we can say without a doubt, saved her run in that inning. The first ground ball that she fielded, and then the line drive snared right there for the final out of the inning. No runs on a hit. They leave 1. And we are through 2.5 here at Paramus Catholic. The score, the Paladins won, the Bonnies won on NJ.ORG Varsity. We'll be right back.
I do not. Usually you're the tissue man.
Bottom of the third inning underway here, and Alyssa Neal steps to the plate, the shortstop for Paramus Catholic. She is 0 for 1. Marletta deals strike 1. And the Paramus Catholic bench is up and making some noise.
Depending on your point of view, the
Neal
cheering
fouls
is
that one
either
back.
the best or the worst part of softball.
Okay.
I would say it's great because it helps show the teams. You just don't get that in baseball. I mean, you've been around minor league baseball a lot more than I have, quite frankly, as a Jeep nearly gets its tires taken out by that foul ball. Do you see a lot of cheering and chanting down in the dugout?
No, you don't really see any.
Here they have spirit.
Neal.
Yes, they
took
do.
that one ball. Yes, they took that one for a ball 1. Yes, you're absolutely right. Now, in minor league baseball, there's a lot of people up on the dugout steps on the railing. Certainly, yelling encouragement to the players, but there's no chanting. It's not in unison. There's nothing organized about it. It's pretty informal. It's the best way to put it, I think. Foul ball by Neal. Neal has 3 multi-hit games so far this year. She's a senior. And she's halfway to another multi-hit game as that one falls into right center field. Skalk fires in. And for the second time in 2 innings, Paramus Catholic has the leadoff runner on.
Yeah, remember last inning they were unable to capitalize on it when DeCandia ended up getting caught off third on that great play that was made by Dillon. See if this time around the Paladins might be able to push a run across.
Pitch fouled back by Triola, and through just 2.5 innings here, that's been a little bit of a theme, is that fine play by the third baseman in the field. The great play that was made by Dillon last inning, and then the 2 great plays that were made last inning by Julia DeCandia for Paramus Catholic. Both of those plays saved runs. Count 1-1 on Triola. Triola reached on an error that allowed a run to score in the first inning, a fly ball that was just off the glove of the center fielder, and that's through for another hit. Stopping at second is Neal. And 2 on, nobody out, so we're carbon copy
Yeah.
at the beginning of last inning, Joe.
Yeah, I was going to say, just like the beginning of last inning, first and second, nobody out. And we'll see here with Samantha Held, the 5-hitter coming up, whether or not Paramus Catholic's going to elect to bunt this time, as we're going to get a meeting on the mound. I honestly wouldn't, but we'll see what they elect to do here.
Held is 0 for 1 as the meetings adjourn. She grounded out to shortstop back in the first inning with a runner on second base. Held wearing number 99. She is also a senior, the main catcher for this Paramus Catholic varsity squad. Righty against Bianca Marletta. The first and third baseman coming in expecting a bunt. There it is. A great bunt in front of the plate. Throw to third. Not in time. As the Bonnies got a little bit too ambitious there. That was a very well-placed bunt with the runners going on contact. She deadened it so that they would either the catcher would have to run out and grab it, or one of the infielders would have to come charging in and then reverse their momentum to throw to first. And look, I think the throw to third there was, as I mentioned, was asking a little bit too much. You take the out at first and you move on. They were able to get out of the last inning in the same position that they would have been in with second and third one out if they'd taken the out at first there, but instead it's bases loaded, nobody out for Julia DeCandia, who singled in her first at bat to lead off the second inning.
You know, on that sacrifice bunt play, the decision by Nixon to try and throw to third brings back that scene from the Moneyball movie where Brad Pitt's just sitting around telling, look, on a sacrifice bunt, don't try and be a hero, just take the out that they're giving you.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Joe. You were absolutely right. So Neal on third, Triola on second, Held at first. DeCandia flashing a bunt, now pulls it back and takes strike one. The count is 3-1 now. And the last thing Marletta needs to do here, to state the obvious, is to force a run in with a walk. Excuse me, ground ball through the middle. That will score 1. They're going to try and score 2. Here comes the throw in from center field. It's offline. 2 runs score on that one. A 2-run single by Julia DeCandia. She is 2 for 2. That's her 4th multi-hit game this year, and she picks up a couple of RBIs.
And believe it or not, those 2 RBIs are the first 2 RBIs of this game. The first 2 runs that scored, both of them had no RBI, and so here, as Paramus Catholic takes the 3-1 lead with the first RBIs of the game, and we're going to get the courtesy runner coming in. It's going to be Noelle Cancro running at second base for Samantha Held.
And now here is Juliana Longo, who walked in her first at bat. And Joe, one of the things we were talking about was how last inning, Paramus Catholic's rally when they loaded the bases came on just 1 base hit. This inning they have 3 hits. So the bats have started working this inning. Longo.
Interesting defensive alignment here. Looks like they just...
You're exactly right. It's like they're playing a zone almost. They have the first baseman and third baseman way in, the shortstop playing third, essentially, and the second baseman responsible for the entire right side.
I don't know what kind of
pitch is fouled away. Sorry, Joe.
I don't know what kind of spray charts they have on Longo, but this is certainly the most interesting shift I've ever seen. A somewhat decently hit ground ball up the middle automatically gets through because you've essentially vacated the shortstop.
Throw to third as the ball gets away, not in time. As Cancro moves up to third base, and DeCandia takes second, and the count is 1-1. So second and third, still nobody out in this inning. Longo takes that one outside. First base is open, so they could essentially pitch around her, make her try and hit their pitch, or Marletta can try and make Longo hit her pitch. Fouled back 2-2. And if not, well, then you walk her. You get a force at every base.
Yep.
And you take your chances with Sabrina Torres, who sacrificed in her first at bat. Righty against righty again here. And the defensive alignment has reverted to their normal alignment, and that's a base hit. That should score 2 runs. Shaw bobbles it a little bit, and now taking second on that is Longo as both runners score, and it's 5-1.
And still in this half inning, nobody out. 4 runs already across here for the Paladins. And You really got to like the way that they're putting the bat on the ball, and I don't think things are just happening for him.
Swing and a miss on that one by Sabrina Torres, the left fielder for Paramus Catholic. And Joe, now how big does that bunt play look now where they didn't take the one out? And they'd at least have one out. They'd be a little bit closer to getting out of this inning.
They would have one out, and there would be one less run in.
Just over the outstretched glove of Allegretti. Having to hold up on that was Longo, so she simply moves to third, but it's a base hit for Sabrina Torres.
Yep, first and third now, still nobody out. Suhu at the plate. Remember, she was the one who hit the ground ball to third that Dylan made that nice tag play in the last inning on.
Suhu takes strike one. That ball was just out of the reach of Allegretti. Nice effort, but just hit a little bit too hard. And good backup, though, by Ciccarelli-Gerber. Another bunt shown by Suhu. She looks the runner back, does Marletta, and throws to first. A great play there on the mound by Marletta to allow that bunt to just move the runner over to second and not score a run. Longo stays put. Sacrifice for Suhu.
And that's the first out of the inning.
That's exactly right. Now we turn the lineup card back over. Here is D'Amato. 5-1 Paramus Catholic in the bottom of the third inning. One out here. Pitched low for a ball, went to Olivia D'Amato, who was 0 for 1. She grounded out too short in the first inning and walked in the second inning. Four runs already in, a ground ball to La Cognata, who just holds it and holds the run, and at the same time holds the runner at third.
I don't get the play there. Take the out at first base, throw it across the diamond. You had D'Amato if you throw the ball to first.
I think she was more concerned there about letting the run
come in and try and score, but
yeah.
If you saw Longo run when she hit the ball to right field, she's not very fast, so she might not have tried to do it, and even if she did, you might still be able to get her. I think at this point, you got to trade the run and just get the out. That's the second time in this inning that the Bonnies have not taken an out. They could be out of this inning. But instead, they decide not to, and now you got bases loaded, one out, 4 runs already in.
Well, Joe, and I could be wrong for once. Look, I think what happened with La Cognata there was she wasn't sure whether she wanted to hold the runner or throw to first, so she did neither. And by the time she threw to third, the runner was back, and there was no chance to get an out there. But by the same token, it does give a force. It does give a force at any base for the Bonnies here.
Well, that's why they tell you when you're young, you know, before the pitch, if the ball's hit to you, think about what you're going to do, so that way you don't get caught up in that kind of halfway in between play that we just saw happen there.
That's very true, Joe. That's a good point. As Heather Ronchi takes ball one, Ronchi is 1 for 1, and the Paladins have batted around in this inning now. She doubled and scored in the first, grounded out to second in the second. Marletta still throwing hard. And swing and a miss, strike 2 on Heather Ronchi.
Yeah, and Ronchi not happy with herself for swinging at that one. She knew that one was low. A little bit frustrated. You saw her kind of tap herself in the helmet with the bat there, like, what are you doing?
If I held away. And we'll give you I forgot to do this. Let me give you the defense for the Bonnies. As Delane Allegretti is in left field, Rafaela Ciccarelli-Gerber in center, and in right field, Julia Schalk. Fouled away. On the infield, from third to first, Ariana Dillon at third. Natalie La Cognata at short. At second base is Erica Cristiano, and at first base, Maria Gentile. Julia Nixon behind the plate, and of course, Bianca Marletta on the mound. Well, the third, throw to the plate, and missed by the catcher, Nixon. And Joe, the thing you say there about trading outs for runs, if Dillon had just taken the ball, she could have easily stepped on third for an out, and then maybe she would have still had an opportunity to get the out at home, but regardless, she would have at least had one out on that play. But instead of run, scores. And the base is still loaded. Here's Alyssa Neal, who began this inning with a single.
Who do you give the error to that time, Dillon or Nixon?
I'd give it to Nixon. No?
You give it a Nixon?
Yes.
All right, we'll give it a Nixon.
Missed
Good
catch.
thing we're not the official scores, because otherwise we'd probably be getting a petition from someone.
Well, that comes with the territory as an official score, Joe. And this one should score 2 runs. The base hit by Neal. Heading to third is Ranchi. 2 more runs scored. This is a 7-run inning for the Paladins. Neal has scored a run in this inning and driven in 2. And now here is Stephanie Triola, who also singled and scored earlier in this inning. That's a line drive over the head of Schalk into the wall. Coming around third is Neal. They're going to send her. Throw will not be made, and that's a 2-run double for Stephanie Triola. And it's 10-1 now.
Wow. The wheels have just completely fell off the wagon in this inning for the Bonnies. It seemed like we were going pretty well there the first 2.5 innings. Had a nice little pitcher's duel going, but now it's just been a hit parade, to say the least, here in the third, and still only 1 out.
You said wow, Joe. I'm glad you didn't say sheesh. Although we might be getting into sheesh territory. If anyone who knows everyone who saw the Paramus Catholic game, down Vasile lacrosse game, knows what I'm talking about. It's a base hit missed by Gerber in center field, but backing up there is Allegretti, and the runner does not score in that Triola. She stops at third. A base hit, force held.
Yeah, we might be getting to sheesh territory soon.
Might we? Well, we shall see.
Yeah,
I hope we don't, but you never know.
Yeah, once I start using, I'm not even sure what that is. It's not Yiddish, but I feel like it should be.
Petition the National Yiddish Society. We can do
the
that.
NYS?
Yes.
Of course. Hey, DeCandia's up.
Still 1 out. Julia DeCandia steps up, takes strike 1. DeCandia this afternoon is 2 for 2. She has singled twice, scored a run, driven in 2. She takes that one inside. She drove in the first 2 runs of this 9-run frame. What feels like half an hour ago, with one of her 2 singles, and obviously she also came around to score. DeCandia takes that one high. Throw to third, not in time. Looked like Dylan thought she had Triola there, but the umpire disagreed.
I gotta tell you, I thought she had her too.
It was very close. It was bang, bang.
And of course, though, I do not have the best angle back at the plate.
3-1 now. First and third, 1 out. 10-1. Paramus Catholic leads here in the 3rd inning with only 1 out. DeCandia takes one for ball 4. Moving up to second is held as DeCandia takes her place at first.
Here's a fun stat if you support Paramus Catholic, not so much if you're a Fontbonne Hall Academy fan. Every batter except for Victoria Suhu has scored a run in this inning for Paramus Catholic.
And that's a base hit for Juliana Longo, wasting no time jumping on the first pitch with a base hit into right field, scores another run, and it is 11-1. Longo now has 3 RBIs with that single. The bases remain loaded as each runner moves up one station. Ground ball through the middle again. One run will score. Sabrina Torres picks up an RBI. And one thing, if nothing else, you say this about Paramus Catholic, they have found a hole, they have found open space, open grass, open field, wherever they have hit the ball. A lot of these balls have not been hard hit. A lot of them have been ground balls, but they've just found a spot where there wasn't a fielder. Another nice catch on a foul ball there by Victoria Suhu. Nice catch by a fan who now showing off the souvenir, but he's gracious enough to give it back.
Well, it is high school, yeah. Yeah, Suhu has made the lone out in this inning. I think it was actually just the other day that Miguel Cabrera made all 3 outs in an inning for the Detroit Tigers.
Really?
We'll see if Suhu can maybe replicate that one here today.
Foul ball.
Yeah, that's an impressive feat, especially considering that Miguel Cabrera is not the guy you'd expect to do that.
No.
If there's a big inning like that, you expect him to be in the middle of it.
Yeah, you would have thought it would have been like Andy Dirks or Danny Worth or someone.
Yeah.
Not Miguel Cabrera.
Ryan Rayburn, if he's even still on the team.
Suhu grounds one through the middle. Another base hit. One more run will score. That's Julia DeCandia coming in. And the runs are just piling up here for Paramus Catholic. It is 13-1, excuse me. This is a 12-run inning.
You know, I'd really like to compare this to something, but I have nothing. I have nothing in my mind
You have a loss. You're at a loss of words. You have a loss of words for this inning.
I mean, I've seen big innings, but this is. It's just single after single after single after single. Just they're going station to station. It's not like they're even, like you said, it's not like they're even tattooing the ball. It's just they're finding holes.
Well, yeah, the last 4 hits have just been ground balls that
and also
have made it through the middle.
Let's not forget, they didn't get
away
the out on that sacrifice bunt, and they gave away another out when La Cannata didn't know what to do with the ball and got caught in between. They could have been out of this inning 6 batters ago, 7 batters ago.
You think about the fielder's choice earlier in the inning, the ground ball, the error on that we gave to the catcher, ground ball to Dillon, where she could have easily just stepped on third and taken it out. But instead she decided to go for home. The throw was a little offline, the catch couldn't be made, and as a result, they're stuck on 1 out. There's a ground ball too short. Throw to third is in time. There's an out and a run score, so that time they do trade the out for the run.
Yeah, your classic 6-5 fielder's choice on that one, but still a run comes home.
So that's D'Amato hitting into her second fielder's choice of the inning, but she does pick up an RBI on that one.
First pitch to Ranchi misses up high.
And Ranchi is 1 for 3. She doubled and scored in the first inning. She grounded out to second in the second inning and reached on an error earlier in this third inning.
She is the 18th batter to come up this inning.
That's a lot. And that one is real. That's the best hit ball we've had all inning. It's gone! And boy, doesn't that just put the icing on the cake for Paramus Catholic. A 3-run home run for Heather Ranchi. The whole team greets her at home plate. And it is 17-1, and she absolutely crushed that ball, Joe. What's the old saying? Save the best for last. If that's the last hit, last run of this inning for Paramus Catholic, they went out with a bang.
You're telling me. Now for the third time this inning, Alyssa Neal comes up.
That ball
third time.
Absolutely tattooed, and you're right, and Neal is 2 for 2 in this inning with 2 runs scored.
And she ended up hitting that one right over the 204 sign, which is one of the more interesting markers on the outfield as the first pitch is fouled back, because to the left of the 204 sign, in the left field corner, the measurement is 208 feet.
Yes.
In the gap, it's actually 4 feet shorter because of the way the fence cuts across because of the football field right behind the softball field.
Neal takes that one low. The count is 1-1. And I don't know about you, Joe, but that ball off the bat did not look like it was going to get out of here. I thought it would maybe hit the wall first. First, I thought Ciccarelli-Gerber had a shot at it. Then I thought it would just bounce off the wall as that pitch was high. And then it just kept going and going. And next thing you know, it was bouncing onto the football field beyond the softball diamond.
Yeah, perhaps that one got a little bit of aid from all this wind that we've been getting here today. That's blown your scorecard all over the place.
Yes.
That blew the first pitch, really, that Ranchi hit over the head of Ciccarelli-Gerber, and then helped that one get over the fence. Look at the American flag out in center field. It's blowing pretty much straight out to center field. So that one's fouled off into the barbecue grill. You're
right. It looks like it's blowing straight out and a little bit right to left, which would have been exactly the direction, the exact direction of wind that ball would have needed to edge its way over the fence. Although that ball was not a wall scraper, that cleared the fence in the 204 side pretty good. That one is just out of the reach of Cristiano at second base. And the third hit of the inning for Alyssa Neal. And Joe, I don't know about you, but I don't have enough room to in one inning box on my scorecard to make.
I've moved on, and I've made the 4th inning the second time through, and now I'm already into the 5th inning.
Yeah.
Of batters
here.
Just
hope that they don't bat around next inning again, because then it will be a mess.
Well, I can go up to 15, so my card is already a mess,
yes.
but it can handle it at the very least. And I just want to say something about Alyssa Neal, who has 3 hits in this inning, as the pitch is flied in the air pretty deep to the left.
Having a beat on it is Allegretti. She makes a fine running over the shoulder catch to put that one away. And so the inning ends mercifully on a nice play by Allegretti, and that is a nice end to what would be, what you could consider a catastrophic inning for Fontbonne Hall, giving up 16 runs. And I'm not going to bother counting up the hits right now because it would take me the rest of the game. 16 runs for Paramus Catholic. They bat around twice. We go to the 4th inning. The score, Paramus Catholic 17 and Fontbonne Hall 1. Welcome back to Paramus Catholic High School as the Paramus Catholic Paladins lead 17-1 here over the Fontbonne Hall Academy Bonnies. And we have a new pitcher in the game. It is Megan Holmes.
Megan has pitched in a couple games this season.
Yes.
for Paramus Catholic. It's 9 innings, given up 12 hits, 4 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. And says here she has a 2-0 record, but I'd be a little bit skeptical of that. All of those, of course, unofficial stats coming to you here. The official stat that Mark and I can both be sure of is the score is 17-1. 16 runs scored in the bottom of the 3rd by the Paladins.
Swing and a miss there by Bianca Marletta, the leadoff hitter, the pitcher for the Fontbonne Hall Academy Bonnies today, who will be trying to get something started to offset the horrible last inning that Fontbonne Hall endured. But the one thing that I will say, which sounds cliched, that ball is lined just over the outstretched reach of Alyssa Neal into left center field. That is a base hit for Marletta. The one thing that you will say is, hey, if Paramus Catholic can score 16 runs in an inning, so can Fontbonne Hall.
I would really prefer, though, as I'm sure you would as well, if Fontbonne Hall just chipped away at the lead rather than going for the 16 all at once. It would give us a little bit more of a break.
Yes, that would make this the longest 2 half innings back-to-back in the history of softball, I think.
Yeah.
Stepping in now is Maria Gentile. Marletta is 1 for 1 now. She walked in her first at bat. Gentile struck out in her first time to the plate. Holmes deals a strike as Christine Calcione is in to run for Bianca Marletta at first base. We should mention a new left fielder, Gabrielle D'Amato, for the Paramus Catholic Paladins. And that is a base hit into right center field, stopping is Calcione at second base. And Joe, I feel like I've seen this before.
Yeah, this is giving me flashbacks to the last half inning.
So 2 on, nobody out for Jillian Nixon. And this Fontbonne Hall Academy offense is, as we mentioned before, they're the top team in New York City. They have an outstanding team. They won the New York City Championship last season as that pitch gets away and the runners both move up to second and third. Calcione to third, while Gentile takes second on that wild pitch. So this is a fantastic softball team we have facing Paramus Catholic this afternoon. So they are not out of this game. I don't care what the score is. Line drive, a ground ball too short. Neal looks the runners back. The throw to first, I believe, was in time. Yes, the umpire making the longest out signal in the history of baseball, but that is an out indeed, as Nixon is out 6-3. Runners stay put, so nothing comes across against Holmes.
And you see, that's the kind of play that Lacanata needed to make last inning. Look the runner back, then throw it across to first.
Yes, I agree. Here is the first pitch to Delana Allegretti. Allegretti is a junior. And she hit a solo home run earlier this year against Christ the King on 4/17. And one of the things, and that was in a game in which Fontbonne Hall swing and a miss. That was a game in which Fontbonne Hall won 18-10. So that's all that evidence that you need right there.
18-17 final score. Is that what you're predicting right now?
I'm not predicting.
It doesn't matter which way it goes.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. That pitch is outside. Allegretti singled in her first at bat of the game. That was in the first inning. Second and third, 1 out. 17-1, Paramus Catholic leads it. That ball has popped up. Right there is D'Amato, and Olivia D'Amato puts it away. 2 away. And this is the jam that Fontbonne Hall couldn't get out of last inning, Joe. The one that Megan Holmes is 1 out away from escaping in the 4th inning, the top of the 4th, as Rafaela Sicaretti Gerber steps in. 2 on, 2 out.
And I do have to say something for Ciccarelli Gerber. Very fun name to say, Rafaela Ciccarelli Gerber.
Absolutely right. That one is grounded. Neal makes a nice play. Can't get her. A run will score. That was just perfectly placed by Ciccarelli Gerber. She gets a hit, picks up an RBI, and it scores 17-2. And that hit right there kind of embodies what happened last inning to Fontbonne Hall, where everything that Paramus Catholic, they just seemed to find a hole. That just seemed to be in the perfect place. And allows a run to score. Allows Christine Calcione to score. That pitch is fouled back by Julia Shaw. Shaw was 0 for 2. She popped out to the pitcher in the first inning, grounded out to third in the third. 17-2 to score. Paramus Catholic leading Fontbonne Hall Academy Bonnies. Excuse me. Thank you to Joe Vasile, who just reminded me that my microphone was not in front of my mouth. Runner going for second. She steals it cleanly, does Ciccarelli Gerber, as they tried to steal a run there, did the Bonnies, but the Paramus Catholic Paladins are not falling for that trick twice. That's how the Bonnies got their first run in the first inning on a double steal.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, you're not going to fool me again. I think George Bush was the one who said that.
The ball is dropped in right field by Alessandra Mania. A run scores. He tried to make a really nice sliding catch, but it was just a little bit too far in front of her. It slipped out of the webbing of her glove. That's an error, and that scores 2 runs. So both Gentile and Ciccarelli Gerber come around on that one, and that's 3 runs for the Bonnies now in this inning. And now with a man on first, with a runner on first and 1 out, here is Natalie La Cognata.
And you know she's looking to...
Is it La Cognata or La Cagnata? I think La Cagnata sounds better, but I'm not sure if that's correct.
It does. I also think that's something out in Los Angeles as well.
Okay. Well, I gave it a shot.
You know what? A for effort. B minus
Runner
for execution.
going for second. The throw gets by Alyssa Neal as Shaw steals second base there, and even being behind by 13 runs, Joe, the running game is not something that the Bonnies are afraid to utilize in their favor.
Well, you know, with the success that they've been having today, you might as well keep going to it. I mean, you got to try and get runners into scoring position and push runs across the plate somehow.
You're exactly right. La Cognata takes that one. For a ball, it's 2-1. She is 0 for 2 today. She's grounded out to second and to short. Holmes trying to get out of this jam, limiting the damage to 3 runs. La Cognata swings and misses, and the count is 2-2. Natalie, in that 18-10 win over Christ the King, she went 3 for 4 with a home run. Oh, excuse me, that was in a victory over Christ the King on April 1st. She went 3 for 4 with a home run. Grounds this one to Alyssa Neal, who drops it, but it looks like the umpire is calling the hitter out due to runner interference, which I think is a good call, because Shaw running in front of Neal clearly disrupted her ability to field the ball, and as a result, the third out comes on interference. So 3 runs in that inning for Fontbonne Hall on 3 hits, 1 error, and one runner left. So we go to the bottom of the 4th. The score is Paramus Catholic 17, Fontbonne Hall 4. Welcome back here to Paramus, New Jersey, the campus of Paramus Catholic High School, as the Paramus Catholic Paladins take on the Fontbonne Hall Academy Bonnies. We go to the bottom of the 4th. The score, Paramus Catholic 17, Fontbonne Hall Academy, or FHA, I guess we could call it, 4. Samantha Held, the catcher, leading off for Paramus Catholic. Against Bianca Marletta, who is still out there on the mound for the Bonnies. Righty against righty, outside. Oh, excuse me, the first pitch is outside for ball 1. And Held is 1 for 3. That's a base hit down the left field line. And Held will hold on at first with a leadoff single. And she is now 2 for 4 with a couple of singles. She already has 2 runs scored in today's game.
And remember, Held was the one who sacrificed bunted when there were first and second and nobody out. All that time ago, last inning, and the Bonnies elected not to throw to first and get her. They instead tried to go to third, didn't get the out, and that set up the huge inning for Paramus Catholic.
It just snowballed after that. You're absolutely right, Joe. Here's Julia Candia taking strike 1, and she has been killing FHA so far today. She is 3 for 3 with 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs. She's also walked. She hits that one foul to the left field line. And I would have fielded that one if the fence wasn't here. But there are some things that society just doesn't let you do sometimes.
I nearly got a couple of foul balls earlier in the game, and that one was nearly your chance.
My 15 seconds of fame?
Yeah.
Short fly ball just out of the reach of the right fielder. And there are 2 runners on.
And
that was Christine Calcioni, the new right fielder. We also have a new third baseman for the Bonnies. That's Sue Nordbo, number 29 at third base. And here is Alessandra Mania getting her first at bat of the day. As victorious, excuse me. Yes, this is Alessandra Mania.
Yeah, Longo's done.
Juliana Longo. And the count quickly 0-2. Pitch fouled back by Mania. Count holds at 0-2. 17-4, Paramus Catholic leads it after a 16-run third inning. That saw them bat around twice. But through it all, pitch to Mania is up high. Through it all, Bianca Marletta has been out there on the mound, toughing it out this afternoon. So give a lot of credit to her for not throwing in the towel and asking out of the game. She's still out there. She still wants to pitch. She's a competitor, I'm sure, and she still wants to keep pitching.
And who knows, maybe she'll get a nice triple play here to get out of this inning.
But that would be another thing that I've never seen before, Joe, along with the 16-run inning, is that pitch is fouled away towards that grill that we keep talking about.
That is the same fan who made a couple of nice plays earlier in this game. He is all over the place.
He brought his game face to the ballpark this afternoon, Joe. Mania takes strike 3. So she strikes out in her first at bat. And here is the new left fielder, Gabrielle D'Amato, hitting instead of Sabrina Torres. D'Amato replaced Torres last inning in the field. She fouls back the first pitch. D'Amato, a sophomore who usually plays third base for the Paladins, but today she's helping out in the outfield and getting a chance to play, obviously. First and second, 1 out in the bottom of the 4th for D'Amato. Marletta deals high for ball 1. 1-1 is the count. Torres was 2 for 3 on the day before being taken out with a sacrifice bunt, a pair of singles, and an RBI. That pitch is low, almost gets away from the catcher, Nixon, but the runners stay put. Both teams, as we mentioned, making a few subs here, but not too many. D'Amato has 1 RBI so far this year. She picked it up early in the year against Bergenfield. She pops that one in foul territory. The same gentleman going for the foul catch can't make that one. So third time is not a charm for that fella.
Yeah, that one looked like it had quite a bit of backspin on it as well. Hit the kind of parking lot / road that is right up atop that short little hill, and then took a nice spin back towards the field.
D'Amato ground ball, nice play by the shortstop Lacanada, and she throws out the runner at third for the second out of the inning. Also, the problem for that gentleman is when you make 2 catches, you get the expectations really high, so then people expect you to come through, and when you don't, it's a disappointment. 2 outs now after the fielder's choice, hit into by D'Amato, and here is the pitcher, Megan Holmes. First pitch popped up right to the first baseman, Gentile, and that ends the inning. And the Bonnies and their fans are probably saying, why couldn't we have had that last inning? But to no avail, obviously. But they do get out of this inning without a run scoring. No runs on 2 hits. No errors and 2 players left on. We go to the 5th inning. This could be the last chance for Fontbonne Hall here on NJ.ORG Varsity.
Top of the 5th inning from Paramus Catholic. Joe Vasile here. Mark Inserra with us as well. 17-4 the score in favor of the Paladins. And so unless the Fontbonne Hall Bonnies can scratch out 4 runs in this half inning, this game could be coming to a close. First pitch in, Erica Cristiano is in there for a called strike. Cristiano, 1 for 2. She struck out back in the first inning and singled in her last plate appearance back in the 3rd. As that pitch misses low, the count 1-1.
Cristiano also stole second after she got that base hit back in the 3rd. And she's obviously would be the player that the Bonnies need to come through if they want to get back in this game and score those 4 runs to keep going. They scored 3 runs last inning against Holmes, so they need to do 1 better, obviously.
Megan Holmes kicks and deals in there for a called strike 2. The count now 1-2. Holmes took over on the mound in the last half inning for Victoria Suhu after the 16-run 3rd inning that the Paladins were able to put together on what essentially amounted to a bunch of seeing eye singles. Change up hit on the ground to second. D'Amato throws on a Triol, and that is out number 1, 4-3 in your scorebooks if you're keeping score at home. I'll bring up Suzanne Nordbo, came in as a defensive replacement in the last half inning. This will be her first at-bat in replacement of Ariana Dillon.
And that right there, Joe, plays like that have been a big difference between these 2 teams this afternoon. Maybe the biggest difference is that Paramus Catholic has been solid. Their playing the field has been uneventful, whereas Fontbonne Hall is playing the field has been the exact opposite. We've seen errors, we've seen misplays, we've seen players not throwing to the right base, not making the right play. And that was one of the things as taking strike 1 is Sue Nordbo, the new 3rd baseman, who took over for Ariana Dillon. That was one of the things that led to that 16-run inning for Paramus Catholic, is the inability to make the easy plays by Fontbonne Hall.
Nordbo will take that one a little bit low, possibly outside as well. The count now even at a ball and a strike. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into it too much at the risk of sounding like a broken record, but there were some indecisions, some bad decisions that were made in that inning that contributed to all those runs being scored. The pitch misses up high, 2 balls and a strike. Now to Nordbo.
You're right, Joe. Not to beat a dead horse, but that is the story of this game. Have been those plays in the field as ball 3 comes in to Nordbo has been the plays that the Bonnies have not made today.
Yeah, they could have easily been out of that inning with only 3 or 4 runs scored rather than 16.
You're exactly right.
Well, that just wasn't in the cards as that one misses upstairs, and Nordbo will take a base on balls. First walk issued so far.
On the Paramus Catholic bench, you could see Victoria Suhu already getting her shoulder iced down, as obviously she is done for the day with Holmes on the mound.
Looks like we're getting a pinch hitter here for Bianca Marletta, and it's going to be Abigail Riley coming in. So should Fontbonne Hall be able to scratch across a couple of runs here, Marletta out of the game.
Riley's a junior, obviously a right-handed hitter, who has not seen a whole lot of playing time, but obviously getting in there today, as taking second on that wild pitch is Nordbo. And this is, you never like to see blowouts like this, Joe, but this is one of the great things about a game like this is everyone gets a chance to play. I know that sounds kind of little league, but all the players get in there, get a chance to swing the bat, things like that.
I mean, it even is still high school, and we've been talking about how Fontbonne is the #1 team in New York City, but the thing is this is not their everyday starting lineup that they put out here today.
No, you're
this
exactly
was not,
right.
Their number one pitcher that they put on the mound. This was the young players. This was, the pitcher that they're going to have next year.
Yes.
These are players that still need a little bit of time to develop. This is not their ace squad that was out here today that gave up 16 runs. And perhaps part of that is the reason, as Marletta goes down on strikes for the second out of the inning.
Riley, Joe, sorry.
Excuse me, that's right. And perhaps part of the reason for some of the sloppy play is because they're not the everyday players. They're not out there all the time. And I think more than anything, as that pitch missed for a ball, perhaps this is at least a learning experience for a team that hasn't really had to go through a lot of games like this over the last couple of seasons to get the young players in here and get them prepared and at least mentally toughen them up a little bit for perhaps if there's a situation next season that they don't let something like this happen.
Yes, this kind of lets younger players know the level they have to play at or how well they have to play in order to compete with good teams, because Paramus Catholic is an outstanding team. They're not the number one team in New Jersey, but they're a very good softball team. And these players now know that, hey, if we want to be a competitor among the level of the top softball teams in New York and in New Jersey, we need to play better than we did today.
The 2-1 on the way. Hit to right field. Coming in is Mania. She squeezes it to make the catch, and that is going to do it here in this one. The final score in a shortened 5-inning game as the teams line up to shake hands at home plate. 17 for the Paramus Catholic Paladins, and for the Fontbonne Hull Academy Bonnies, 4 in what started off, quite frankly, through the first 2.5 innings as a good pitcher's duel. It was 1-1 headed into that bottom of the third, but Mark, in the bottom of the third, the wheels completely fell off for the Bonnies.
You're absolutely right. 16-run inning. We keep mentioning the same thing, but the reason we're mentioning this, I said before, is because the story of the game was that some misplays, some poor plays by Fontbonne Hall, and some hard hit balls and certainly some ground balls with eyes that came off the bats of Paramus Catholic. And the runs just kept piling up, and before you know it, they'd batted around twice. 16 runs had come in, and the game was pretty much over before we started the 4th inning, Joe. But give a lot of credit to Fontbonne Hall, as I mentioned, to Bianca Marletta, who, despite having that bad inning, who hung in there and pitched her heart out and kept throwing hard, kept getting outs even after that disastrous inning had unfolded against her and her team. But Paramus Catholic was just outstanding today. Their pitching was very good. Their fielding was outstanding, and obviously their bats came alive and made short work of this Fontbonne Hall Academy team.
Yeah, and like we were saying, it's not like they were necessarily hitting the ball hard. Yeah, they had a home run in that inning.
Yes.
How much that was helped out by the wind, it's really hard to tell. But, I mean, it wasn't like every single ball was a screaming line drive. That a lot of them were just ground balls that had eyes, that got through a hole here, that dropped right in front of an outfielder there. And it's really, those are kind of the ones that are a little more heartbreaking for a team in the field, because the process is right. You're getting the weak contact. They're not driving the ball. It's just they're hitting it where you ain't.
Yes.
Like the old saying goes, and it's just, man, could have gotten that one, or darn, that one just found a hole in.
Right.
It's a little bit deflating.
Yes. It was kind of in a lot of ways, a small collection of unfortunate things for Fontbonne Hall that just all rolled into one horrible inning. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, they all happened in one inning and just kept snowballing on them. And you're right, there were some hard hit balls. Ranchi had a home run. We mentioned the wind was blowing in that direction at the time.
Yeah.
But it's not like she hit a pop-up on the infield and a 50-mile-an-hour wind gust came and blew it over the fence. That was a well-hit baseball that carried over the wall.
Yeah, it was. It certainly was, and wraps it up here pretty much for us on the day. We thank you so much for tuning in on NJ.ORG Varsity, for subscribing to our YouTube channel, NJ.ORG Varsity, liking us on Facebook, NJ.ORG Varsity, for following us on Twitter, NJ.ORG Varsity there. Joe Vasile PvP, that's me on Twitter as well. You can give me a follow as well for all of your sarcastic Mets tweets that you can handle. 17-4, the final score here from Paramus Catholic. For Mark Inserra, Daniel Graham on the camera. Thank you very much. I'm Joe Vasile saying have a nice night, and we'll see you next time.